Hey guys, Ogalbina here, bringing you guys our IBA Season 6 semifinals match against Silver Smasher and his Galactic Garchomps. Silver is a phenomenal player. I've played Silver a million times, specifically in playoffs. I always end up getting Silver in playoff matches and things like that, and it never ends well. Silver is a great player. I've taken games off him, but man, is he taking some games off me. He had a great season, as you can see on your screen with the matchup. He went 7-3 plus 23. He beat us in regular season. On the back of a reckless Mienshao, just clicking high jump kick versus us because we didn't bring any of our fighting resist. So obviously you can see on your screen we changed that this time. But Silver definitely knows what he's doing. He's a great player. He's a really good guy. Definitely go check him out in the description below. He really is a dope guy. But I do want to do a quick team builder before we jump in, just so you can see what we're bringing, why we're bringing it. So you have that background knowledge going into the match. But before I do so, lots of buts and weights and stuff like that. But before you do, I do want to mention that only a good 40 to 50% of you guys that are watching the videos each and every single time they go up are actually subbed to the channel. So go ahead, hit that sub button for me. It's completely free. It's really easy, and you can always change your mind later. So I would really appreciate your support in helping us get to that goal of 400 by the end of the year. But that being said, let's jump right into the matchup. I know you guys are excited to see the game. I will try and leave a timestamp on the screen so you can see when to jump ahead to the game, and if you want to skip the team build and all that stuff. But yeah, our team, if you did forget, consists of Salazzle, Alola Persian, Serperior, Mega Diancie, Frogadier, Golbat, Porygon Z, Komodo, Seismitoad, Celesteela, and Reuniclus. While Silver's team, as you can see, both of them right above us right there, consists of Zeraora, Mega Pidgeot, Latios, Mienshao, Shaman, Drapion, Metagross, Primarina, Regirock, Hippowdon, and Wishiwashi. Now, the biggest threats to me, last time you saw Mienshao, was a very big issue for our team. An incredibly big issue for our team. We are actually bringing Golbat this game, and we'll kind of get into that later, just to kind of semi-check that thing, because it was incredibly annoying for us to deal with last time. Mega Pidgeot, I also don't have great answers to. Hurricane, Heat Wave, Hidden Power, Steel hits the entirety of my team very hard. I think he'll bring the same exact set he did last time, just those 3 attacks and Roost, and it really does so much work to us. He doesn't even need to catch our switches with U-turn. He just clicks Hurricane until Celesteela is in range of a Heat Wave. He just clicks Hidden Power Steel anytime my Diancie comes in, and it's really tough for me to deal with, in all honesty. Zeraora can get out of hand in the end game if Komodo or Seismitoad gets weakened, which we'll talk about here in a second. And Latios is Latios. I don't have great switches to Latios either, especially because my Celesteela is meant to check that Mega Pidgeot. If that gets too chipped down, then I don't deal with Latios and vice versa. So we're going to have to be careful. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. First off, we do have our Celesteela rocking out the leftovers. Beast Boost as its ability. Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Leech Seed, and Protect. 244 HP, 52 attack, 60 defense, 44 SPDF, and 108 speed with a careful nature. This is the exact same spread we ran last time. The only thing that we did change, we took Substitute, Subleech off for Protect. I figure Protect would be a little bit nicer to just get that extra HP back, get some residual lefties, maybe some Leech Seed back, stuff like that. Also Scout for a Scarf Mienshao clicking high jump kick, or if it's gonna click U-turn or knock or anything like that, so we can play around it potentially that way, as well as a Scarf Lottie, things like that. So I figured that'd be nice. And Heavy Slam plus Earthquake actually hits my opponent's team very hard. Despite us not being super invested, we're still doing a lot of damage to his team overall. So it's obviously great. Next up, speaking of repeating sets from prior weeks, we have Komodo rocking out the leftovers. Soundproof is its ability, Dragon Dance, Taunt, Dragon Claw, and Poison Jab. 132 HP, 204 attack, 4 defense, 4 speed, and 164 speed with an adamant nature. Now, Komodo is going to be our primary win con this game. All we need to do is guarantee some chip off on Metagross, because this set does not touch Metagross very well. We do not have any fighting stab, because I didn't feel as if it was very needed. Other than that, once we get to +1, as long as we are out of range of a Scarf Mienshao hit, and as long as we scout and make sure that Latios isn't Scarf, this Pokemon can win with prior chip, and I think it's really good in that way. It takes advantage of his fat very well. Things like Regirock and Hippowdon and Drapion and things like that. If we can get up a DD and then we can taunt the Drapion, it won't be able to Toxic us or Whirlwind us or anything like that, which is obviously great. Same thing with Regirock and Hippowdon, doing the same kinds of things to us. And then Poison Jab is obviously to hit things like Primarina if it ends up coming, or Shaman for super effective damage and things like that. As much as I would like fighting style this game, I don't know if it's necessarily needed in this particular matchup. And third, we have our Porygon Z rocking out the Choice Scarf adaptability as its ability to try attack, Dark Pulse, Trick, and Ice Beam. 132 HP, max special attack, and 124 speed with a modest nature. Now, this Pokemon is, again, the same set that we brought last time. We get into some different stuff here in a second, but this set, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This put in a lot of pressure on Silver's team last time, and the main thing it does is it forces damage on that Metagross. If we could force damage on the Metagross with this and Diancie, then Komodo can do very well in the endgame, which is going to be my main kind of plan here. It also just gives me a great revenge killer. Things like Zeraora and Mega Pidgeot after rocks, and a Lottie with a little bit of chip on it. He really does not appreciate switching into modest tri-attack whatsoever. So that's obviously great. Dark Pulse is to hit the Metagross very, very hard. Ice Beam just a nice coverage move overall. I didn't really need a fourth move. It hits Pidge, Shaman, Hippowdon on all of them super effective if we really need to. And then Trick is just to punish his fat if we end up getting to that point in the game where we need to trick something, a Scarf. Next up, we have Bolgat, rocking out with the Eviolite, Infiltrator's its ability, Brave Bird, U-Turn, Super Fang, and Roost. 228 HP, 4 attack, 148 defense, 4 super def, and 128 for speed. Blech, lots of 4s. With a impish nature. Now, this thing is here to check Mienshao. It pretty much hardballs Mienshao. Even Rock Slides are going to be bouncing off us, right? By far, Rock Slides are going to actually, just completely bounce off of us. U-Turn is for momentum. Super Fang is to, really get a lot of damage off on that fat. Like the Metagross, like the Hippowdon, like the Regirock, things like that, that really switch on is super easy. Even the Zeraora. Brave Bird for General Step, and then Roost to keep ourselves healthy. Very self-explanatory set. It is taken advantage of by things like Lottie and Zeraora on good U-turns by the Mienshao. But I figure that's just a price we're going to have to pay. I could have brought Reuniclus over this to check the Mienshao, but Reuniclus has a pretty bad matchup in my opinion. There's a lot of things in this team that take advantage of it, and let's end a free Drapion, and with no Grounded Poison on my team this week, if T-Spikes go up for free, which they pretty easily do against this team that I brought, things are going to be pretty tough, so... I figured Golbat was a little bit better in this matchup in particular, because not only does it check the Mienshao, it also checks the Shaman and things like that as well. It soft checks a Pidgeot as well. I don't believe we get 2-hit KO by a Timid Hurricane. So that's obviously super clutch, and Golbat's going to be very, very solid in this game, and hold that Mienshao at bay, which was our main issue last time. Next up, we have Mega DNC, rocking out with the DN side. Obviously, Magic bounces its ability, Moonblast, Stealth Rock, Earth Power, and Power Gem. Max special attack, max speed, and 4 super def. Very self-explanatory set. My opponent does not switch into Mega DNC very well. It's a great rocker because of the switches that it does end up forcing in this matchup in particular. Earth Powers for things like the Metagross mostly, but also like a bulkier Drapion. Rocks obviously to chip things down, and then Moonblast plus Power Gem hits my opponent's team incredibly hard outside of those two. So if we can get some hits off with Mega DNC, will be great. I almost brought Sub and then brought Rocks on my Jiraiya, my Seismitoad, but I figured that this would be a better rocker in this matchup because I wouldn't be using it very defensively. I'm going to be using it as an offensive pressure type mon, and if I can use it in an instance force switch get up Rocks, I'll be in a better spot opposed to Seismitoad, which has to take a turn to get up Rocks as it's taking a big hit or something like that. It's not forced as many switches as on my opponent's team, so I figured that would be a little bit nicer. And I also wanted to run Assault Vest Seismitoad. So we are AV Toad. Water Absorbers our ability, Scald, Sludge Wave, Earth Power, and Ice Punch. 196 HP, 4 attack, 4 special attack, 156 defense, and 148 spit def with a sassy nature. This Pokemon is a nice just blanket check to a lot of things. A non-invested Zeraora Grass Knot does not 2-hit KO us. We check Pidgeot very well. We are not 3-hit KO by most Pidgeot variants. We can soft check a Latios. We can soft check a Primarina. If it's not Energy Ball especially, we take it on very, very easily. We can pivot in on, honestly, a lot of things. We can take a hit from pretty much anything on this team, minus a Shaman or something like that, and be in a very, very good spot. So I think that Seismitoad is just a nice overall good bulky pivot this game. It's not going to be, having the craziest damage output or anything like that, but it's going to be doing its job, which is, just kind of pivoting in on things, scouting damage, throwing off some annoying Scalds, nabbing some burns, and putting the rest of our team in a position to where either Porygon or Mo can win this end game. But yeah, that's going to be the team. I will be right back with the match. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. So you can see the 6 that Silver elected to bring. He went with the Mega Pidgeot, the Zeraora, Latios, Metagross, Mienshao, and Drapion. I'm pretty sure this is the exact same 6 that he brought versus me in the first time. Minus maybe Drapion, something else might have come. I completely forget, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He definitely did well versus us last time. So, going into this, I kind of wanted to lead well versus multiple things. I wanted to lead well versus Zeraora because it can be very, very annoying for our team to deal with. I wanted to lead well versus Latios, versus Pidge, versus Drapion. Honestly, the only thing that Seismitoad doesn't lead great against is going to be like a Reckless Mienshao. Other than that, it's a phenomenal early game pivot and just kind of scouting damage, doing what we want to our opponent, and, kind of going from there. So, we are going to lead off with our Seismitoad. Good luck finding to Silver. Hopefully, this is a very good and clean one. Obviously, I know the outcome, but, let's not break the wall too much. So we're going to lead with our Toad, as he does end up leading off with his Mega Pidgeot. And this is completely fine. I kind of want to scout damage on this thing, see exactly what it wants to go for, see how much damage it's outputting and stuff like that. We should be able to take it on pretty decently, and at least pepper it for some damage, chip it down, annoy him enough to where he might want to potentially pivot out, stuff like that. So he is going to click Hurricane turn 1. Completely fair. If we weren't AV, this would definitely 2-hit KO us, but fortunately it does not. We are able to avoid that 2-hit KO and throw off a big Ice Punch, showing he's a pretty bulky pitch. It's actually not a 2-hit KO, which is pretty unfortunate. So he's going to go for another Hurricane, knowing that he is not 2-hit KO'd. I believe I fish for a Scald Burn right here. I go for a Scald, figuring he, 1, would either just attack me, or 2, would go for a Hurricane, knowing I didn't kill him. So regardless, I figured getting that Scald Burn was nice because it could put him into a point where my Ice Punches were doing enough to where he wasn't, he was getting 2-hit KO'd and it was a little bit tougher on him. And to where Scalds could potentially even 2-hit KO after burn damage stuff. So that's what I'm going to go for right here. Expecting him to roost off this damage. There's no reason for me to go for the Ice Punch. It's going to be, drastically reduced in damage output, obviously, when it roosts and loses its flying type. So this is going to be a very, very annoying exchange that goes on for a good minute, in all honesty. It's just me spamming Scald and Earth Power and Ice Punch, just trying to pepper this thing, keep it low. And Seismitoad doesn't have much use anymore already in this match, which is unfortunate, which makes Zeraora very scary. It's something we have to keep in mind. But it doesn't have as much use, really going forward in this. So we're just going to kind of keep peppering with Scalds. Still not getting that burn, which is pretty unfortunate. And now right here, I am going to Ice Punch, I believe, knowing that he is, at a point where recovering doesn't really gain him anything except risking crits and stuff like that. So I am going to Ice Punch because it'll do a lot to him. It's not going to be able to knock him out, unfortunately. But from here, I am going to be able to start peppering this thing, with some more damage. Silver's going to get a little bit greedy. He's going to try and get as healthy as humanly possible on me, which is completely fine. That's definitely fair, as I am going to go for a Scald right here. And I believe finally get the burn on this one. Yeah, there we go. So we finally get a burn, so we're going to be getting a little bit more residual on this thing, to where I can't stay as healthy as easily on us going forward and stuff like that, which is awesome, as he is going to go for a Roost once again right here. Getting back up to a healthy amount, as I believe this time I even click Earth Power, because Earth Power was doing more than Scald. I can potentially nab a special defense drop and stuff like that, which make it a little bit tougher on him. You're going to see this definitely isn't 2-hit KOing, even with the burn, unfortunately. So he's going to be able to pretty safely just kind of click buttons and be a general nuisance, that's for sure, as he is going to Roost. Yet again, I believe this time I might even, I just Scald again. I probably should have Earth Powered just because it covered him ever roosting. And if he attacks, he kills me anyways. So maybe Earth Power is definitely still my best play. But regardless, it's completely fine. I'm just going to keep attacking because, again, I don't need Seismitoad for anything, especially with how low it is. It doesn't really gain me much. And unfortunately, I can't speed up the recording on my computer. I totally would have zoomed through this part. I apologize, guys. As I am going to click Earth Power that time, which is cool. We finally do get that special defense drop, so that's pretty cool. And it's going to take a little bit of chip, which is nice, and it's going to be down at a good 50-ish% as it finally goes for a Heat Wave. It's going to be able to take out our Toad, but Toad was able to give us some valuable information on the Pidgeot, revealing pretty much its entire moveset, as I'm assuming it's probably the same set as last time, with Hidden Power Steel as the force move that it has not shown. And it probably would have gone for a U-turn to pick us off if it had it right there as well. So I'm going to go into my Porygon. It's my best thing to revenge this thing. No reason to go into my Celesteela and take unnecessary chip, as I can just go for a pretty free Tri-Attack. It's going to force in this Metagross, which obviously comes in right here. But honestly, that's completely fine, just because of the fact that me peppering this thing with damage really sets up for an endgame with either Komodo or this Porygon, in all honesty. And I can still nab status on it every time that thing comes in, so it's pretty no drawback going for that Tri-Attack, at least early in the game, especially when I have a full Celesteela to pivot in immediately afterwards, as I am going to go into that. Thunder Punch isn't doing that much to me. It's definitely not 2-hit KOing me, as he does go for the Stealth Rocks. Based on that damage from the Tri-Attack too, he was like pretty much max, especially defensive, and especially because he's not AV, showing that Stealth Rock. I know that I might be a little bit fast in this thing, as I am going to go for an Earthquake. I am creeping a pretty bulky Metagross, as we are able to get that off. Do a good chunk to it, as it ends up going for a Thunder Punch against us. So being fast in this thing is phenomenal information to have. Knowing my Celesteela is always a really, really good response to staying in the back. It's great. It's going to do the Thunder Punch. It's not going to be a 2-hit KO, as we get a little bit of lefty's back, as he is going to pivot out, not wanting to save this thing just so he can Bullet Punch a Mega DNC later or something like that. Go out and do his Drapion. This is fine, though. He didn't really have an Earthquake switch, and his only Earthquake immunity on this team is going to be Pidge, which I, definitely take out with a Heavy Slam afterwards, and Latios, which is, this is my check to Latios. So if it comes in and I can trade Heavy Slam chip on that thing, phenomenal for me. So out comes the Drapion, and what I'm going to do right here is I'm actually going to pivot out. Even though I take this thing on 1v1 pretty easily, there's no reason for me to let my Celesteela get knocked off to where I'm not getting that residual lefties, which I think is very important at this point in the match. And there's no reason for, me to let that happen right there, as I do have a full health dancing. What I can do this turn is use this as an opportunity to get up my Stealth Rocks. Based on that damage prior and stuff like that, being he's not a boosting item and all that good stuff,
I know that he cannot knock me out with an Earthquake, even when I Mega Evolve and lose a little bit of my bulk, which is obviously great information to have, as I can just Stealth Rock, and then Stealth Rock into Earth Power should pretty much net me a KO, as he does not have good switch-ins to Earth Power, especially when he's in versus Drapion, and it's, you know, takes away the prediction game. So he's going to stay in, go for the Earthquake, but we're definitely going to chew this thing pretty easily. I'm going to be drawn down pretty low to where, you know, we only have maybe 1 or 2 more rock switch-ins, but honestly, that's fine. Earth Power should always kill this thing from here, especially being that it's not Sugar Berry or Assault Vest or anything like that. It actually blows this thing backwards. So we are going to Earth Power and be able to take out that Drapion. So awesome. First blood for us. We got Rocks up. The Pidge is going to be very limited on its switch-ins, being that it's burned and at about 50%, which is great. The Metagross is very chipped. So is obviously this Pidge right here. And we're going to be in a pretty solid spot. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in Power Jab. Now, looking back on this play, as I try and find my mouse, it's not working. Looking back at this play, I knew he was either going to Hidden Power Steal me or Roost. That being what he's going to do, what I should have done is Moonblast. It does more damage, and you're going to see right here as I Power Jab, it's still neutral. Like, it doesn't do nothing. It does a lot of damage. But I think if I would have Moonblasted, I would have actually picked up the KO on this, which would have been genuinely amazing for me positioning-wise. It would have forced in the Metagross the turn after, and I would have been in a great spot, either the Metagross or the Mienshao. So he's going to go for the Hidden Power Steal this time. That's fine. Just a little unfortunate, because what it's going to do is going to force me into my PZ, and because it's obviously going to live on the burn, just a little sliver, unfortunately. But that's going to force me on PZ, force me to take not only another Tigner Rock Chip, but it's also going to, you know, give me some pretty subpar positioning, that's for sure. So I am going to go for a Tri Attack, be able to pick off this Pidgey out, revealing that I'm Choice Scarf. But what this is going to do is it's going to allow in the Mienshao, and this Mienshao coming in for free is basically what kind of puts me in an awful spot the rest of the game. The positioning that I put myself in, not clicking Moonblast there, was really, really bad on my end, because what it's going to do is going to force me into my Golbat 100%. I take the High Jump Kick very well, but he can either knock off or High Jump Kick pretty freely. He does go for a knock off or U-turn pretty freely, as he does go for the U-turn. That's completely fair. And what this is going to do is it's going to, you know, obviously chip me to where I've taken the Rock Chip plus the U-turn, but it's also going to allow in the Latios, and the Latios is a big issue. Now, at this point in the game, I felt like I was very far on the back foot. I need my Golbat, obviously. I 100% need my Golbat, just because of the fact that it's my only way of not just raw losing to that Mienshao at this point in the game. So I obviously need to switch out and save it. Now, the next issue that we come across, though, is the fact that I don't switch into Latios. I really do not switch into Latios at all. As you're going to see here in a second, he's Life Orb. So in my head, I know I can't go hard Sally right now, because Thunderbolt's a pretty no drawback play if he does have it. So in my head, I'm thinking he might go for Thunderbolt. So on a middle ground, I'm going to go Porygon Z. In hindsight, this was way too aggressive. This is way too much of an aggressive play, because what this is going to do is he's going to go for a Psyshock. He goes for a Psyshock, and it's not going to kill me, thankfully. But because he's Life Orb, it's going to do a ridiculous amount. Actually putting me in range of Stealth Rock. So what this means is I basically have to go into my PZ and click a button until I drop, which is very much a less than ideal. I am going to click Dark Pulse, just because it covered this Metagross coming in to where it couldn't Bullet Punch me and pick me off after it, and it also hit the Latios very hard as well, to where it would at least die to the Life Orb after, even if we didn't kill with Dark Pulse. So we are going to be able to take out the Metagross, which is nice. Really nice for a Komodo if we can find the opportunity stuff. So this game is far from over. We can find that opportunity to get up a couple Dragon Dances and be at a good spot, or get up one Dragon Dance and be out of range of this Mienshao. But he is going to U-turn right here on my Porygon Z. Completely fine. We're still in a decent spot, though. It's just we put ourselves in a pretty mess spot, just losing our PZ and, you know, that poor positioning in the early game. So he's going to go into Zeraora. And in my head, I'm thinking this gives me the perfect opportunity I need to set up with my Komodo. This thing's only way of hitting me, we see Lefty, so we know it's not Z. Its only way of hitting me is Outrage. I know it +1, I will outspeed it, and that puts me in a great spot. And I don't think he'll lock Outrage on me. I really don't think that's a bring in this matchup. And you're going to see he doesn't bring Outrage. Lefty's Outrage would definitely be a very interesting set on Silver's part. The reason I'm saying it can't hit me is because it's Gen 7, obviously, as per the Megas and stuff, and it does not have access to Play Rough yet. So I'm going to go into my Komodo, but unfortunately, Silver's going to reveal Taunts, so he was prepared for this exact moment. Definitely a very good set on Silver's part. I believe he was Assault Vest last time, so we've been able to set up on that set pretty easily, and that's kind of what I was banking on. Unfortunately, he is going to be able to taunt me. I don't have switch into this thing anymore. This is my response, so I am going to have to Dragon Claw as he reveals the Calm Mind. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, this still should be fine. I still shouldn't take too much damage from this thing. Like, I don't think I'm going to just raw lose to the Zeraora at this point. So I'm going to click Dragon Claw, and you're going to see that is not a 2-hit KO, unfortunately, because he's very bulky, and he does obviously have the leftovers on him. but I still should be fine as he is going to go for a hidden power. Now this is scary. He turns out to be hidden power ice, and you can see that damage, right? That damage did what? I forget the exact damage roll. I think it was like it did like 83 or 84 or something like that. So I am going to Dragon Claw here. Obviously, we don't take him out. So I was looking at the damage roll, and after lefties, I'm thinking, I should be out of range of this next hit. I should be out of range, and if I have my last 2 Pokemon, I'm actually in a pretty bad spot, but I'm not in a position in which I can just raw lose the game. So I am gonna go for, I believe, a Dragon Dance right here. Dragon Dance was no drawback on my end because of the fact that if Hidden Power didn't kill me, I would be +1 speed and I would be able to throw off a big hit. I would have forced in the Mienshao and been able to position myself accordingly. Now, because he goes for the hidden power, you're going to see he actually ends up killing me. Now, I thought I got like max rolled. That's not necessarily the case. So I actually got, we talked after the game, we saw spreads. He was max special attack timid. He actually got like an absolute min roll on that first hidden power, which sucks for him. But because of that min roll, that next hidden power was a 43% chance to kill me. And he ended up unfortunately getting said roll. So I think if Silver didn't get that roll, I would have been in a phenomenal spot because I can Dragon Dance up, I kill the Zeraora, I force him to use Mienshao. He has to click either U-turn to try and pick me off, which I don't think it would. I jump kick and either hit and knock me out or miss, which then I can go into my Golbat and click U-turn pretty freely. Or he has to, what do you call it? Yeah, so those are basically his 2 options. And I think I would have been in a good spot to potentially win this game. I don't think I guaranteed one, but I think I would have been in a good spot to win the game. Unfortunately, he does get the roll though, and this pretty much steals the game. My last 2 members being my Celesteela and my Golbat definitely can't take on a Calm Mind boosted Zeraora, that's for sure. I'm going to protect this last ditch effort to try and save Diff and play out for some reason. I probably should have just kind of accepted my defeat at this point, but we're going to go out swinging here in IBA as Thunderbolt's going to knock that out, and it's definitely going to knock out my Golbat. So I think that was a very good game between me and Silver. I'm not too upset with how I played this one, in all honesty. The first time me and Silver played, I was very disappointed in myself. I think I could have done much better. But you know, we were in a good spot to potentially take this one home. It just didn't work out for us, unfortunately, and we ended up losing this one 3-0 and a pretty close 3-0. And that's going to be our IBA season. I really enjoyed my team. I really enjoyed my run. I think semis is very admirable, especially being that I haven't played Gen 7 in a long time. I mean, obviously since the generation ended. And this was a great experience. I really did enjoy myself, and I hope that we can play some Gen 7 Wi-Fi again soon. I got the Citra and everything set up, and I can Gen for the 3DS just for this one season IBA. No, I really want to do some more Gen 7 Wi-Fi content. This was a lot of fun. GG's to Silver. Best of luck going forward to him. He's my kryptonite in playoffs, man. I played him in 2 playoff games on one night in this. I lost to him in BBL as well. BBL Showdown. So, Silver's my kryptonite. He's a phenomenal player. I hope he goes on to win the chip. He definitely deserves it. He has a disgusting team. He's an amazing player. Definitely go check him out in the description below. He doesn't really upload that much Mon stuff anymore, but I know he's been doing a lot of, like, Danganronpa stuff, and, like, you know, uploading that. And he's a really nice guy. So definitely go check out Silv down in the description. I'll be sure to link him and all that stuff. And, yeah, that's going to be our season. Thank you guys for joining us on this journey. Again, this was a great season in IBA. It was a successful run. Despite us not getting the chip, I'm pretty happy with how we performed and did things. So, if you guys enjoyed the run, be sure to like the video. If you're new here, be sure to hit that sub button. It really helps me out. It's super free. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that is. Later, guys.